some monster breaking news, including a future Hall of Famer. Adrian Wojnarowski still on the desk with us. What more can you tell us?
Cassidy, a big one. The Washington Wizards have agreed to send Chris Paul to the Golden State Warriors for Jordan Poole and 2 future draft picks, a first-round pick, a second-round pick. And listen, this is the completion of that Bradley Beal trade with the Phoenix Suns. The Wizards have been looking for a situation to move Chris Paul onto, and now the Warriors step in, bring in Chris Paul to play with Klay Thompson, obviously Steph Curry, and move out Jordan Poole, who will start a new 4-year, $140 million contract extension this season. This is a Warriors team that has some difficult financial decisions to make, and they made one today. And moving on Jordan Poole to the Wizards, this is certainly going to give Golden State an opportunity to have a little more breathing room and working on a contract extension with Draymond Green, who they simply do not want to lose in free agency. And now Chris Paul, who wanted to play very much for a contender, his conversations with the Wizards, Michael Winger, their president, his agent, Stephen Human, they've been working all week to try to find a landing spot for Chris Paul. And it is the Warriors who now bring in this future Hall of Fame player as they try to maximize this window with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and certainly Washington now gathering up picks, gathering up young assets, and they're really in a full rebuild now.
Yeah, before this trade, the Warriors' payroll stood at $186 million. Mike Dunleavy was promoted from assistant GM to replace Bob Myers 6 days ago. Do you have any insight of just how busy he's been in his new role?
Yeah, Mike Dunleavy Jr., this has been a conversation in Golden State. Again, I think trying to find a way to balance out this payroll. Listen, Jordan Poole has been an outstanding young player for this organization. He did not have his best season last year. Certainly some circumstances around that, certainly at the beginning of the year and all that he went through with Draymond Green and the punch. But again, I think this is a play for this organization with Chris Paul, who's owed $30 million this year. This is an expiring deal for the Warriors. It gives them a chance to bring in a player who, in Chris Paul, you are not asking him to carry a significant big role. There's plenty of great guard play here, but certainly the role he could play could be significant as they try to get back into championship contention. And Mike Dunleavy Jr. and Joe Lacob, their owner, they've talked about wanting to still compete, but also the reality that with this new salary cap, with the payroll that has to eventually get reined in. 4 years, $140 million now off the books in Golden State. And part of what you see why draft picks going back to Washington in this is that kind of money. You saw it with Bradley Beal. This is a different time in the NBA with big contracts. And so the Warriors almost had to incentivize that a little bit in getting off that much money.
And Perk, Chris Paul, 38, turns 39 next May. Talking about just the type of role that he could play with this Warriors team. What do you envision that he can do with Golden State?
He's going to fit in just fine. The one thing that we saw over the last couple of years is that Chris Paul has shown us that he can actually play off the ball and be a capable knockdown three-point shooter. But I want to go back to Jordan Poole for a second. We saw the writing on the wall. We saw at times where Steph Curry was frustrated with him when he was taking shots that Steph should have felt like, that the Golden State Warriors felt like should have been in Steph's hands. We seen and we heard Draymond Green talk about how that incident basically broke up their locker room and they wasn't going to win the championship. We saw the drop-off. And the great Kevin Garnett used to always say, watch the young players after they get their money, and that's how you can see the real them. And to be honest, since Jordan Poole got the bag, he's been a completely different player. I think this is a right move for the Warriors, and I would love to see Chris Paul alongside Steph Curry. That would be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, he signed that 4-year, $128 million deal back in 2022.
Well, I think it's a little unfair to be like, watch the player after he got his money. That is a very, very true thing. But I think in this situation, after you win a championship, you get your money, you get punched in the face, and now all of a sudden you're pissed off. So I don't think that that's a great indicator. I will say this about Jordan Poole and about a lot of young players out there. If you're in a great situation, and you have to recognize that very quickly you can end up on the Washington Wizards, no disrespect to them, in a rebuild space. So you can go and get a bunch of shots. No one will ever see you. You're not gonna be on TV. You're gonna be a part of a rebuild, or you can fix your face, you can fix your attitude, and get back in line and compete for championships. So I think, while this is unfortunate, that they had to break up part of their young core, there were some money incentives on it. But ultimately, Chris Paul to the Warriors, I think that is a great move for Chris Paul.
But I want to clarify what I'm trying to explain to you so you can actually listen.
Okay.
What I'm saying is his attitude was different. We saw it in the postseason. It had nothing to do with the punches. We saw the frustration with the shot selection he was taking. It had nothing to do with him getting punched.
Agreed.
It's everything about him saying, I got my bag, so I got a bigger role. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And you could go take it up with KG. I'm just telling you what he told me, and that's what I said. He's an all-time great. He's Hall of Fame. I'm going to go listen to him.
Yeah, listen, in this league, the only thing you are guaranteed is the money on the contract. You are not guaranteed where you're going to play unless you're Bradley Beal and you negotiate
yes.
a no-trade clause. Mm-hmm. But that you are seeing fewer and fewer high-level players go into free agency. You are signing the extension where you are, and then essentially you go in the portal when you want out. Now, that's not what's happening with Jordan Poole. He was traded, but I think this is the reality of the league. We are going to see, I think, a number of trades, and among them some with contracts like Jordan Poole, even early in their career, starting out on a new deal. But again, for Washington, he has a chance to be a cornerstone on a young team. They bring in Tyus Jones from Memphis. Jordan Poole, and so you start to see some younger perimeter players and some picks. They've got number 8 tonight. They've got second-round picks, and certainly they're in a position now.
We'll still see what they're going to do with Kyle Kuzma.
Right. There's still there's a lot of interest in re-signing Kyle Kuzma. Again, if you're the Wizards, that's an asset. You want to try to keep that on your roster and then maybe make a different decision down the line with them. And Kuzma's going to have a lot of free agent opportunities out there. But again, Jordan Poole to the Washington Wizards for Chris Paul, remarkable.
Why are you touching me?
No one's touching you. Anyway, look, I like this for the Wizards. I really do. Because now they have a legitimate young backcourt. We know what Tyus Jones can do. Mm-hmm. We know what Jordan Poole can do. So now, okay, you need a couple of threes, but you're building something. For the last, I want to say 3 or 4 years, with the Bradley Beal sweepstakes, and then you give him a no-trade clause, and then you give him all the money, there is not a person in the NBA that had any idea what the Washington Wizards were doing the last 3 years, right? I understand Bradley Beal needs to be there, but no player was going to go team up. You didn't have the assets to go bring somebody else in. You were in the biggest purgatory, and then all of a sudden you have to trade Bradley Beal to get off the contract for probably, I don't want to say pennies on the dollar, but somewhat close to get off the contract. So now you can see a clear plan in Washington, and good for them in the organization.
You think Chris Paul can finally get his first championship with the Warriors?
No, I don't. But it's still... great fit.
You know what? There's a lot of hate in you and your heart. There's a lot of hate in your heart, bro.
I love the move for CP3, but you still got the Nuggets and you got the Suns. The Warriors are not my favorite because they added CP3.
I'm just saying you got a lot of hate in your heart.
I'd love for everybody on this panel.
That's a lie.
That's a lot of veteran presence, though. Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. We'll see what happens with Draymond Green. As Woj said, a remarkable trade. The Washington Wizards are finalizing a deal to send Chris Paul to the Golden State Warriors for a package that includes Jordan Poole and picks.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports here. Breaking news, Jordan Poole has been traded to the Washington Wizards along with a 2030 first rounder and a 2027 second rounder in exchange for Chris Paul. Now, Chris Paul is going to the Golden State Warriors. I don't understand this at all because you have an aging Chris Paul and expiring contract. The only way I can understand this is you wanted to get some money off the books next year. And you will, because Chris Paul, his deal is done. $30 million off the table right there. Now, that being said, you gave up 2 picks. That I don't understand at all. So now it's kind of like Washington Wizards are making up for it last night, because last night they dropped the ball. Last night they gave up Kristaps Porzingis to the Boston Celtics. In exchange, well, there was a 3-way trade. You had the Boston Celtics, Memphis Grizzlies, and the Washington Wizards. And quite frankly, Washington did not get anything. I'm trying to understand it from the Washington's perspective, because if this deal didn't happen, Kristaps Porzingis was going to, decline his player option and become a free agent. So they would have got him for nothing. Like, they would have let him walk, kind of thing. So they didn't want to do that, so that's why they made this deal. Tyus Jones is a legit point guard. Let's not forget that. And Marcus Smart went to Memphis. Now, that in itself is a big shocker for Boston Celtics fans, because Boston Celtics fans, this guy is a leader, and he's vocal in the locker room. So this is gonna hurt pretty damn well amongst Boston Celtics fans. Now, rewind till I think it was Sunday. Sunday, they gave up Bradley Beal, expiring deal, no trade clause, for Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, and they gave up a couple other people too, but you didn't get any picks. I don't know what Washington did on those last 2 deals, but they are making trades, crazy trades. Speaking of trades, Paul George, rumored to be on the trade block for the number 3 pick with Portland. I don't think that's going to happen. Now he's in the rumor mill with the Knicks. Maybe so. I don't know. Right? Like, Clippers got to do something, because, Jerry West said on Playoff P's podcast, those 2 guys are never, Kawhi and Paul George can never play half the season. So that is, something that needs to be addressed. Another trade, actually not trade, but another thing that's going to happen, obviously, is the NBA draft tonight. Now, NBA draft tonight, we all know Wemby's going to go number 1. And quite frankly, it's kind of like this. Wemby's going to go number 1. And number 2, they had Brandon Miller. But then all of a sudden, now they're trying to see if Scoot Henderson's a big pickup. Obviously, he's a big pickup, but will he fit within the Charlotte system? I have no idea, right? But like, if you ask me, my opinion is the fact that you already have LaMelo Ball. If you do get Scoot, him and LaMelo Ball could be a point guard, shooting guard combo, which is good. And you just need to fill out the roster. If Portland grabs Brandon Miller, it's pretty good on their end. But Damian Lillard basically said he does not want to be a part of a youth movement. Will Damian Lillard ask for a trade? I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen there. But, today and the last couple of days have been crazy, and it's just ramping up. The off season is officially here, and here we go, right? Draft is a couple hours away, so maybe another trade might happen. And if so, just, subscribe to this channel and tune in, and I'll talk about it some more. Leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you guys think, especially about the CP3 deal to the Golden State Warriors. they are not getting any younger. They just got a little bit older, and they lost some draft capital. In my opinion, not a good trade for the Golden State Warriors, but I kind of want to hear from you guys. Leave a comment in the comment section. As always, this is Jag from Jaggy Sports.